This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
You're now in the Essential Zone, where we seek to be informative, inspirational, enlightening, and dynamic. But more importantly, we seek to be fair and balanced. There comes a time when the game tolerates no spectators, only players. There comes a time when we must recognize that our individual aspirations shape our collective destiny. There comes a time when getting in the game, despite the risks, despite the challenges, regardless of the cost, is simply the right thing to do. There comes a time when we must find our hearts, find our soul, and pursue our purpose for the greater good of all, for country, for humanity. There comes a time when we must manifest our true greatness. Yes, there comes a time, and that time is now. So let's get down to the essentials. The essentials. Serious radio for serious people committed to advancing the national conversation. And good evening and welcome to the Essentials, the Reset. Today is Advanced Polling Day. It's a strange day for radio here in the Bahamas, at least for talk radio here in the Bahamas. But we are now on our P's and Q's. We are keeping in line with the requirement of IRCA. There will be no discussion about politics, but that's not going to be an issue on this show this evening because we are going to be so far away from politics that, you wouldn't actually believe. The newspapers today in the Tribune, we see Delta variant now at large. There's been a confirmation that the Delta variant is in the country. There's also confirmation that the Alpha variant is here, and there is also another one. I can't remember. There was one single incident of that in terms of the samples which were tested, the most dominant one being the Delta, and consequently we would have seen and I think we instinctively understood this to be the case. We see from Dr. Dwayne Sands, country is on its knees, and we are really trying to say to everyone out there, you have a responsibility and a role to play in helping the country to manage this fight against this pandemic. And, each of us, every single one of us, have a role to play. Keep your distance, wear your mask. If you're so predisposed, get your vaccine and keep your distance and wear your mask. This evening, we're going to have ourselves a wonderful conversation as usual. We want you to join us. There is not a lot to talk about today, so certainly you may want to tune in. The numbers are 323-6232, 325-4316, and 325-4259. We're going to be talking with some individuals who are vested and totally invested in the upliftment of others, the upliftment of people. And we're going to get a little bit of a report card on the feedback, the aftermath of the earthquake in Haiti. And we're going to take both parts of our conversation and we're going to tie them together and to see exactly how that mesh. So we're going to take ourselves a very, very quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get right into it. This evening, I just feel like, we should kind of cleanse the palate. And to cleanse the palate, we're going to beat some drum today. So let's take this break. Let's come right back and we will join our guests on the other side of the break. Again, if you want to join us, you know the numbers and you also know the text line. So feel free. You're listening to The Essentials, The Reset. Don't move. And
I don't know if it's
welcome
the
back.
way the sauce is prepared, but I could literally eat Ballo's jerk all day. I mean, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's very addictive, and I encourage everyone to try it at least once. And I promise you, it won't be the last.
Big up Barlow's Jerk, the best authentic yard jerk chicken spot on the island. And that's the thing. Big up yourself, Barlow's.
Ballo's jerk is the best in town. Their meat and their sauce is on point. You gotta try it.
Now that your age is not everything, now that your kids call you for advice, now that you can achieve anything you set your mind to, why stop? Nourish your strength and energy with Ensure. Ensure provides protein, antioxidants, key vitamins and minerals to support your immune system. Now that it's your moment to enjoy your vitality, why stop? Your life, your health, your Ensure.
Do you know you can get your business cards designed and printed for as low as 18 cents a card? If it's a poster you want, you can pay as little as $6 a square foot. If your print needs are short or long run, digital printing, wide format, or print consultation, call the best. Call Print Masters. Print Masters' goal is to provide its clients with the highest level of personal, professional service at an affordable price. Our state-of-the-art technology also makes working together efficient and easy. Laminations, business cards, flyers, posters, window and floor decals are just a few of the digitized print services offered at Print Masters.
Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
And welcome back to Guardian Radio 6.9 FM. This is The Essentials, The Reset. Let us join our guests right now. We have on the live line Miss Mary McLaughlin. Who else do we have on the line? Is Paula Prosper there or Pierre Moyes? Talk to me.
Hi, this is Mary McLaughlin. We're all here waiting to hear from you.
It's such a pleasure to have you here with us, Ms. McLaughlin and co. We're going to talk this evening about trees that feed, and we also want to tie this into the situation that happened recently in Haiti with the earthquake. Is Pierre there?
Yes, I'm there. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, hi. How you doing, Pierre? So Pierre, just want you to quickly introduce yourself to the Bahamian public, who you are, what is your role, what is it that you do, and how are you involved in this whole process. We'll talk about that. We're just trying to make the connection very early and upfront.
Okay, thank you. My name is Pierre Moise. I'm Asian. So I have a business name, Jeremy Breadfruit Flower and Nursery. We have a bakery where we make bread and compare it using breadfruit flour. And also we have a nursery where we grow trees. We process breadfruit into flour. So after the earthquake, we give a quick response. We give help to people where we provide them bread and compare it to feed them. So it's that we are doing in Haiti. I think during the show, I will talk more about our works.
Okay. Polo Prosper, are you there? No, we don't have Polo. Miss McLaughlin, let's talk about you and your role.
Yes, I'm here, guys.
Polo, you here?
Yes, I'm sorry, I was on mute. I was speaking, but I was muted.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yes.
Welcome back to The Essentials.
Yes, guys, thank you. Thanks for having me. Good evening, Mr. Pierre, Miss Marie, and Guardians and Angel audience. Thank you, Mr. Hubert, for having me.
Yeah, certainly. You are here, Polo. You're no stranger to this radio station and in particular, this radio show. Tell us a little bit about, your role. We all know you're from Haiti. You're living in the United States, and you have an interest in the growth and the upliftment of the people of of Haiti. In the aftermath of the earthquake, what is it? What is your view from a, let's say your view from afar? How are you seeing things? What are some of the things that you're hearing on the ground, and how are you plugging into the effort to help to make life a little bit better for these individuals?
I believe where do I start? I can begin with one thing for certain is the fact that what happened in 2010, what happened last month on the June 14th, July 14th was completely different because I could see the unity, the people more engaged in terms of the community itself. They were more involved. It seems like they were more prepared. And we are grateful that we didn't have as much death that I think that they could have had. However, how I'm involved in what we're doing as an organization here in the States is the fact that we have people on the ground that are doing the basics in terms of making sure that the people have shelter, and making sure that they have a hot meal to eat every morning or every evening. So that's our work. That's what we continue to do, and we're looking to do more and partner with some other organization that's already out there doing the work to see how we can continue to contribute.
And that is so important. And, I think we take this moment to pause and to, send our condolences to the families and friends. We see the persons out of Haiti as our brothers and sisters. We are all part and parcel, for the most part, of the African diaspora. And certainly we are part of the Caribbean Brotherhood. And, whenever there's a loss of that magnitude, certainly the whole entire region feels that. So now that we have heard from Pierre and we have heard from Polo, kind of, the two opposite poles, we now want to bring the balance, because we have a lady, Miss McLaughlin, who is, interestingly, running an organization that focuses on trees, and the organization is Trees That Feed Foundation. Talk to us, Ms. McLaughlin, about the work you have done and how you may have impacted Haiti, but certainly impacted the Bahamas and the rest of the region with your effort dealing with trees that feed. And you can give us some background information so that the listening audience can understand exactly what the foundation stands for.
Okay, well, thank you so much for having me on. I am Mary McLaughlin, and I actually lived in the Bahamas for 3 years. I taught at L.W. Young School, and the Bahamas is a place I love dearly. It has a special place in my heart. So about after I was concerned about the environment. I was concerned about the lack of jobs and about lack of food security for the people in this region that you were talking about. And as I grew to maturity, I thought, what can I do as a person to help? I thought about it for a long time, and I grew up on a farm in Jamaica, and my parents had a lot of breadfruit trees. And in Jamaica, we love to eat breadfruit. Mm-hmm. So I thought I would start an organization, and I would just give away breadfruit trees and other fruit trees to anybody who wanted to plant them. To turn this whole planet into a Garden of Eden. That's what I wanted to do.
Wow.
So we started, and then we grew and we grew, and we knew we wanted to grow the trees in the countries that we were going to plant them in. If we couldn't, we would have to import them. And we have done that a lot in the Bahamas. We have about 2,000 trees that we have brought into the Bahamas and planted across the Bahamas. Breadfruit trees. And then we work closely in Haiti. Well, let me step back to the Bahamas. I want to give a shout out to your Minister of Agriculture and to a lady called Quinta Forbes in Freeport. These people have just been so ethical, so good in what they have asked us to do and how they have distributed the trees. Because these trees will be for the betterment of everybody.
Yeah. I do attach myself to that sentiment. Certainly, the work has been going on here in the Bahamas, I think, a little bit too quietly, because until we spoke a couple of weeks ago, a week or so ago, Miss McLaughlin, I didn't have a full appreciation of the extent to which there has been intervention by organizations like yourself trying to get breadfruit trees into the Bahamas. And, I see that as a fundamentally viable project, because it represents not simply just a source of food and not simply a means of protecting the environment, doing something which is sustainable, but the idea of planting trees that feed and using that as a platform for philanthropy has the opportunity to change in a very fundamental way the people who are out there who are in need, and who, whether we do it by trees or we give $1 at a time, will always going to be needing handout. And I think that this is an opportunity for us to make an indelible mark, break poverty cycles, to break dependency cycles, and to create something which has the power to grow and create wealth over time. What would be some of the experiences, mature experiences in this direction?
Well, I want to tell you about Haiti, and this will come back to Pierre Moise. 10 years ago, we decided to go into Haiti right after the earthquake. And we met Pierre Moise. He was a student at a university in the extreme west of Haiti. And he got interested in breadfruit, and he started helping us. In that time, he has grown trees that we buy from him. We try to buy 300 saplings, breadfruit saplings, every month from him to distribute them among smallholder farmers, people's backyards. And then he decided to invest in a factory. And he has built a breadfruit flour factory. Breadfruit flour is very nutritious. It's gluten-free. It has so many nutrients you wouldn't even know. So he built that factory, and we as an organization, we started to buy the breadfruit flour from him to give to orphanages so the children could have a hot porridge, breadfruit porridge at school and in their orphanages. Then he got the clever idea of turning a Haitian delicacy, something called a comparette. Think of guava duff for the Bahamas. Well, the Haitians have comparettes. And he uses breadfruit flour and coconut and ginger and molasses to make the most delicious thing in his bakery. Well, when this earthquake hit in August, he phoned me right away and he said, I have enough preserved breadfruit to make 40,000 comparettes. Well, at that time, the roads were blocked from Port-au-Prince, the bridges were down. No food could come from Port-au-Prince to the Grand Anse, the region where the earthquake hit. But he had thought ahead. He had planted trees. He had relationships with people who owned the trees, sometimes 1 or 2 trees. He was buying the breadfruit, using solar energy, solar dryers to dry it and grind it into flour. And we have been able to buy from him 75,000 meals made in Haiti, produced in Haiti, and trickling back to all the Haitian farmers. So that's what we're here to talk about. And this just proves the concept of what we have been doing with these fruit trees are here to help at a time of need.
And I think that's such an important story, and we will come back to that because, from where I sit, I just see the economics jumping out. It makes sense. You're touching local partners. You're creating local industry. You're empowering individuals, whether they're taking 1 tree, 2 tree, or 5 trees. And you are creating an environment where there can be sustainable means of generating revenue. Paula Prosper, as you listen to this, I know that you're the one kind of outside the trees that feed environment for the time being, because we certainly will rope you in. But as you listen to this, what type of thoughts and ideas are going through your mind as I know that you are always actively seeking opportunities to help on the ground?
As you and I once last week when we connected, you mentioned what was going on. You know me very well. You've been my mentor, my friend, a great friend and my thinking partner as well. This was the reason when you told me about Mr. Moise and Miss Mary, and I was automatically, my mind just, I couldn't wait. So first thing I did, man, I reached out to Moise, and me and him had a great conversation. I picked his brain trying to understand his vision and what was the bigger picture behind everything that he was doing. Not just, I was excited the fact that he was feeding people. It has a factory doing all of that. And he shared something with me that at that moment, I was convinced that he was doing something that's beyond legacy, beyond legendary. The fact that he's not only teaching, as you know, you and I, we focus on the schooling and education aspect of things. We could give people, as the saying goes, we could give someone a fish, but if you teach him how to fish, he would always have a fish to eat. So I was focused more in trying to understand what educational aspect of things was from Moise's side. And when he started talking to me about how he trained people, how he's extended his education so he can become, have a greater knowledge of what it is that he's doing, and then to take it back to the country to continue to develop others, to do the exact thing that he's doing. Man, I was sold to the idea. Yes, I'm excited. I can't wait to get involved, as I promised him to share my support to him, and also with those that are partnered with me, who's willing or who has Haiti vision at heart, or who wants to see a different Haiti. That we see that. Me personally, I see it as an opportunity to partner with both organizations to see if we could take it to even a higher level in terms of helping the Haitian people.
That is wonderful. It's always great when you can make connection, and making connections with you, Polo, is easy. I think I know you. I think I know where your art is. You have a wonderful, wonderful soul for certainly the people out of Haiti. But beyond that, you are an individual who thinks about the region really. And I know that Miss McLaughlin is just like that. We had the opportunity to briefly meet with Pierre, but I guess over time we will develop that relationship. What I want to zero in on as we get into close to our first break, Ms. McLaughlin, is the economics of the Trees That Feed Foundation, or at least the initiative that you are pushing. You have done some work here in the Bahamas. You have done work in other countries, but even as we go through this significant global financial crisis brought on by the pandemic, the idea of searching for new sources of revenue, searching for means of export, or searching for means by which we can substitute some of the things that we actually import from time to time. Your idea of Trees That Feed, even though you're now, I think, largely focused on breadfruit, it goes beyond that, and it doesn't represent in a real way an opportunity for countries like the Bahamas to get deeper into agriculture and deeper into industries that spin off these, and to create forward integration and bring commerce and wealth and push people beyond the poverty line? Isn't this really at the core what the Trees That Feed Foundation look to create?
Absolutely. Well, we started primarily to address climate change because one of a good-sized fruit tree will capture about 1.3 tons of carbon. And we're trying to reduce a lot of the carbon in the atmosphere because we know that makes the planet a little warmer and that creates stronger hurricanes. So that's where we started. But then my husband said, we need to have an economic engine behind the trees. You just can't plant trees. If people start to make money from the trees, then the trees will be planted frequently. So we decided to address that model. And by looking at breadfruit and by breadfruit flour and products from that breadfruit flour, you can make gluten-free products. They make, there are companies all over the world that I see and I'm working with, and they're making gluten-free crackers. Everybody in America seems to be gluten intolerant now. They've eaten so much wheat, they're looking for alternatives.
It's fashionable.
Yes, so gluten-free crackers are becoming the rage. There's a huge opportunity for countries like the Bahamas and Haiti and the rest of the Caribbean to make these gluten-free products. There's breadfruit pasta that's being made. Chips, you know, instead of making potato chips, the breadfruit chips are absolutely delicious. So we're spending a lot of time doing research and developing in these products. But I can tell you one of the best products I've ever had with breadfruit is the Haitian breadfruit comparette. But the Bahamas comparette with breadfruit flour and guava. And that could replace a lot of the things. You know, you can do it sweet, you can do it savory. It can replace a lot of the wheat-based products that's causing a lot of diabetes and a lot of obesity that we're now seeing in countries around the world. So the economic opportunity is there, and we're here to help with that process.
Do you promulgate the planting of other trees other than?
Oh yes, yes.
So talk to us quickly about the other trees which you.
Well,
which you're
dillies. What better fruit is there? Nowhere in the world has good dillies and good guavas like the Bahamas. Cocoa plums, we do all of those. Sweet sop, sour sop, and mangoes. The Bahamas is a perfect place for good mangoes. And mango juice is now incorporated in almost all the fruit juice mixes that you see across the world. So Bahamas is just perfect for mangoes. And we have introduced new varieties. We haven't done it to the Bahamas yet, but to Jamaica, to Haiti, and to Barbados, we've introduced a large number of new varieties of mangoes.
And I think that is important. We'll come back to that because I think the economics is very, very important. You know, planting trees is good. Looking at trees is good. And we need the trees for environmental reason. It's now the green thrust. We also have to be mindful of how we live and operate in a sustainable way so as not to hurt the planet. But at the end of the day, persons have to live, they have to grow, they have to develop. And if we can marry the economics, the need for money, the need to feed, the need for commerce, the opportunity for entrepreneurial endeavors with trees, what could be better than that? You're listening to The Essentials, The Reset. When we come back, we're going to get more into this whole idea of trees that feed. We're going to hear a little bit about what's happening underground. God, what took place? Where are we now? How are the persons faring? And we're going to hear how this wonderful young man is using his skill and talent and vision to help underground and how that could be extrapolated to many places within the region. Come right back. Don't move.
Now that your age is not everything, Now that your kids call you for advice, that you can achieve anything you set your mind to, why stop? Nourish your strength and energy with Ensure. Ensure provides protein, antioxidants, key vitamins, and minerals to support your immune system. Now that it's your moment to enjoy your vitality, why stop? Your life, your health, your Ensure.
For the best jerk in the Bahamas, you must have Baloo's. Pork, fish, and chicken served with our delicious country-style sauce and authentic festivals. Baloo's, Nassau East South. Call or WhatsApp 376-8951. Baloo's, the jerk with the soul of reggae and the spirit of Junkanoo. Baloo's jerk, traditional, slow-cooked to perfection. 376-8951. Get yours today.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9, name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9. You're listening to the Essentials, the Reset, as we listen to the drumming of Africa. We're cleansing the palate of sorts. We are kind of cleaning out the ear. And what better way to do that than to listen to the language of the ancestors? Pierre Moise, talk to us a little bit about, what exactly is happening on the ground today as we speak, as it relates to persons who would have suffered at the hands of that earthquake. How are the persons coping? How are they doing? Is there progress in recovering getting back to a normal way of life?
Yes. During the day of the earthquake, as you know, there were so many houses fall down, breaks on that day. And then so many people went to the hospital. But the problem, there are some area that is very difficult to get there. But we use it was difficult, but there people do like solidarity to go there and to take care of people and then to come without people. But I think now we have so many people who are living in the street. They don't have houses to live in. But the problem is with food. One of the things very important for people now in Jeremy or Lekai in the south of Haiti is to find help on building houses for them and then on providing food as well, because there's a lack of food for them. They don't have house to cook and they don't have kitchen, I think one of the things which is very good or the best thing for Haiti is like the kind of help that feed give to Haiti, to Asian. It is like go there and use like local resources on feeding people. Let me explain. For example, in my business, we have like breadfruit flour, and then we have bakery. We can make bread using breadfruit. We can make comparate using breadfruit. We buy those breadfruit from farmers. I think it's a very good source of income of the farmers because they have breadfruit. Instead of buying things in other country and come to help people, it's a very good to buy local things and help people. That is a kind of development for the country. Yes. Other thing we do is like do training for women we teach them how to cook breadfruit flour. As you know, people use like other kind of flour, like wheat flour, but breadfruit flour is very important for them to use. And now we are using breadfruit flour to feed our people who suffer after the earthquake.
Yeah,
that is very helpful for them.
Yeah. Now, you touch on something which I think is so important, and that is, unfortunately, Haiti has suffered many tragedies over the years, back to back. Sometimes there's a hurricane followed by flooding, followed by earthquake, and so on. It's just a myriad of things, and we really salute the relentlessness and the resilience of the people. But in many instances, there's a flood of attention coming into Haiti from the outside world. And 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the road, when you step back and you make a reasonably objective assessment, you can't really put your finger on where the improvement has been, where the progress has been. And so when you're speaking about creating an economy around the idea of helping others by using local resource, by enabling local farmers, by training local women in making their lives better, I think this is something which is important, which is needed, which is fundamental to the way forward. And while the issues in Haiti are certainly different, when we look at it from here in the Bahamas, from the perspective of growing an economy, teaching people, empowering women who may be, underserved, women who may be disenfranchised, persons who are living in poverty, this is an important thing. And so we definitely, for me, it's really a pleasure to be able to bring this conversation together, but certainly to you, Pierre, we want to encourage you, we want to support you, we want to say to you, continue to do what you're doing, and also to let us know, us here on this talk, and those persons who are listening in the world, where and how can the assistance that persons may wish to offer come in to Haiti to get the biggest impact from your perspective?
Yeah, it's very good. We can, for example, in Haiti, we have resources. For example, now we have a lack of food for people after the earthquake because it's difficult to live, Port-au-Prince, the capital of Haiti, to come in Jeremy. The problem of security, about Port-au-Prince is very, very difficult to get in Jeremy. I think we can use like local resources. For example, if I can say, when I started my business in 2011, we in Jeremy, we have a lot of breadfruit, but at that time, before that time, people couldn't eat all of them, even pigs, because we can use breadfruit to feed pigs. But without the business, I can say that we decrease the quantity of wasted breadfruit in Jeremy, But I am able to do that because I found help from Trees That Feed Foundation that buys our product, the orphanage, to feed the school, I think it's this kind of help we need for now to help people after the earthquake. Is like to find organization who can buy our product and then feeding people who suffer, feeding people who have a lack of food right now. If we can find more money to make more breads, more comparates, I think we will do an impact and then we will help more people.
Yeah. Paulo, to you, again, I know that you would have spoken to Moise before now, but within the vein of what he just outlined, and I know one of your major concern as you look to help persons within your country, you're always concerned about, people really not putting the monies or the resources where they ought to go. A lot is given, and it seems as if away from those who actually need it. You know, when you give this some thought as an entrepreneur, as a philanthropist, as an individual who is seeking to do good by your own countrymen, what are some of the things which are coming to mind? What are some of the changes which need to be made? What are some of the systems and programs which ought to be put into place, working with individuals like Pierre Moise to make this more impactful?
I'm glad you, Moise, mentions some of the issues that we've been struggling with in terms, as a country, I would say, whether you in the diaspora community or whether you in Haiti itself, we are impacted by the decisions that are being made in Haiti because it affects us all. One of my biggest concern has always been, even when you and I spoke privately, and I shared that with you, is the fact that the people that needs their help never comes, but it never gets to those that really need the help. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's 100% no one getting help at all. So I've seen this from the past and also from my own research from people that I communicated with, and I've seen some evidence of that. Whether, I can't sit here and tell you it's 100% true. But based on the research that I've done, the people that I spoke with, and what I've seen when I went to Haiti a couple of times, that somehow, somewhere be the case. And I'm convinced that if that is the case, my attention, my focus is instead of sending something to an organization, I work with a couple people that are not only affected by the event, but who actually has ideas how to help other people. So with this project that we launched since 2 weeks ago, is the fact that we goes to local. From local to local. An organization reached out to me, and I told the organizations, this is what I'm doing, this is how we're doing it, this is our method, let us deliver first, let us see results, and then we can involve other people in terms of that. As far as what everything Maurice says, man, I love the idea that this has always been my attention in terms of helping Haiti. As I've always said, is that if it's to be, it's up to us. And the change of Haiti, the new Haiti that we want, it has to come from the unity of the people understanding the concept of working together. I'm not saying that they don't, but I'm just saying that in general, that from the top to the lowest, and understand that only together that we could create a lifestyle, create a country where we can produce enough to take care of each other and also produce enough to help others around the region as well.
Yeah, and that is important because, at the end of the day, and this is why I think the advice from your husband, Mrs. McLaughlin, it was so powerful. You have to look to where the economics is. Now, trees that feed have significant connection within the philanthropic arena. You are connected with the Philanthropic Alliance of the Caribbean, or Caribbean Philanthropic Alliance, I'm not sure. But you have also done some work with the president, what the name of the president again? One of those past president of the United States. You have worked with their foundation in bringing aid and relief. I'm putting the relief in quotes to the region in terms of the objective of your foundation. How do you see this going forward? How do you want to see this play out? And for the time being, I want to kind of narrow you down to the Bahamas, because I know that there's an interest. There are persons out there who are very, very much vested in agriculture and growing. One individual who comes to mind is Ethric Bow, who, we have an informal WhatsApp chat group. I was fortunate to be placed in that. But we are there with, captains of agriculture, like I think his name is Pericles. I can't remember the rest of his Pericles, who are really, really farmers, and then individuals who just like to eat farm food. And so it gives you that type of an opportunity for a rich coming together of individuals who can make a difference through agriculture, through here my English goes again, through trees, and to find a way of improving the economic situation of individuals on the ground. Talk to us about that. Well, before you go, we have a caller on the line. Let's take the call first, and then I want you to talk. Caller, go ahead. You're on the Essentials.
Good day. First time caller.
Thank you for calling.
I had a vision or a thought the first part of this week on something along the line where the lady was talking about the breadfruit trees.
Mm-hmm.
Is she locally located here in the Bahamas?
No, she's not. She's not, but you'll be able to find her. As long as you find me, you'll be able to find her.
Okay, sir. Could you take my number and give me a call, Jack and Minion?
Okay, you can leave your number with the producer, and I will get it from him, and we will make contact. Thank you. Ms. McLaughlin, go ahead. You have already found yourself a fan. Persons are really, really interested in how this can work. Persons are right now, right here in the Bahamas, there is a serious thrust about growing, about food security. Talk to us about how your foundation can help us in that direction.
Well, you asked many questions. Let me try and break it down. You asked about our collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
We have an open book. We collaborate with anybody as long as they're doing things by the book and legal. We don't receive any money from the Clinton Foundation, but we work in collaboration with them. If they have a project going, they may say, Mary, why don't you work with these people, see if you can get trees to the Caribbean Philanthropic Alliance, and they asked that, and we are a large contribution of the trees that they're planting in their million tree program. They want to plant 1 million trees around the Caribbean this year. In fact, they reached their goal, and next year they want to plant 2 million trees. And this is all grassroots. So we work with people's backyards who want 1 or 2 trees. And if somebody wants to put in a big amount of acreage, we will do that. And that's what Pierre Moise wants to do in Haiti, because he'd like to expand his business.
Yeah.
But then this is a new idea, new product, a new concept of breadfruit flour. I bet 10 years ago, you never even heard of breadfruit flour. Maybe last year, you never heard about it. But it's a good, and we want to see it made into secondary products, like biscuits, like cakes, like cookies. Anything that makes with wheat, we want to see breadfruit substituted at a certain level throughout the region. Because if we grow that and we consume it, then we are helping our economies grow.
Mm-hmm.
Every pound of flour we don't have to pay to import into any of these countries is that money that's staying in that country, helping those people, creating that opportunity. And then there is the possibility of export. When I was a child in Jamaica, we ate, I would say 99% of what we consumed was grown in our country, Jamaica. Now, I would say a good 80% of the food is imported. It shows that the Americans are doing a good job at promoting their products and selling their products. We as Caribbean people can put on that hat and we can produce products and export it. And that means more revenue, more wealth in our countries. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to balance things out. Now, 2 years ago, Pierre Moise worked with the other breadfruit flour producers, and they were able to export breadfruit flour to the States very successfully. Now, we hope to see that done with anybody else who wants to make breadfruit flour or roasted vacuum sealed breadfruit. That's very popular in Jamaica. The fruit is picked, taken to a factory, roasted, peeled and vacuum sealed, and it's a ready-to-eat consumer product that's exported in the States. So I would like to see this industry grow, and I'm here to help support it as it grows in the future.
And I think that it's important to put that out there. From my perspective, I could see myself with a big farm with a lot of breadfruit trees, some ackee trees, some avocado trees, some trees which traditionally in the Bahamas main tension and therefore has a great foundation for export, because given the fact that we're not going to try to eat them all off, well, at least, the other people, I will eat as much breadfruit as I can. But since on a population-wide basis, it's not as popular as some other places, then certainly it represents an opportunity for growth and export. And that is the way I would want to look at it. I want to think about import substitution, as you speak about, rather than buy wheat flour, we use the flour from the breadfruit. What about using ackee, creating a network of farmers who plant ackee, and we get into actually reaping, processing, canning it, and making a Bahamian product, which when you look at it, you say, okay, we know that ackee come from Jamaica for the most part, but here is a Bahamian product. It is ackee, and it is as good as anywhere else in the world. What about we using other products which are not highly arable for other type of plants and other type of crops? The ackee grows like weed. If you throw it on top of your house, you'll have an ackee tree on top of your house. It's something which I think the policymakers, certainly here in the Bahamas, persons who are into agriculture, individuals who are looking to get into agriculture, entrepreneurs, persons who want to take a chance, really could start looking in this direction, because I believe that there are real opportunities, and to the extent that we can, and through this show, we will get the word out, but certainly we will stand as a point of reference for anyone who wants to meet with you, who wants to connect with you. We're certainly willing and able and ready and highly motivated to make that happen, because I truly believe that when we look beyond the narrow sphere that currently exists, great things can happen. So, Pierre, what are you hoping to do in the near future? I understand you want to expand your farm, you want to expand your bakery, you want to do more substantial stuff. Talk to us about that and how you're incorporating the community into your vision.
As I said, we have a lot of breadfruit in Haiti. So for example, now I focus to build a new workshop in other neighborhood or the area where I can say that eliminate or decrease the quantity of wasted breadfruit. Because in the area where my business is, we had, before I built my workshop, we had so many breadfruit wasted. And then because everybody has breadfruit and nobody wants to buy breadfruit from other, But with my workshop, now it is like a market for people, for farmers to sell their breadfruit. And then with that, they get an income. So I would like to expand the business to build other workshop in other area where I can buy more breadfruit from farmers, and then farmers will get an income to take care of their families. It's that I've focused on. Mm-hmm. And also is to build a new bakery, because people in Haiti, they are really like comparates and bread using breadfruit flour. For that reason, I would like to build new bakery to make more flour and then to sell more breads and compare it to people.
Yeah. How do you secure funding for this type of a thing? I know it's a business, it's your business, but because you have such a huge, I would say, philanthropic attachment to this, I'm interested to see how you secure funding. Are you reaching out to agencies, international organization? I know you work with certainly with trees that feed, and their purchases help you to move your business forward. But who else is out there helping you at this point in time?
Well, we have like local customers where we put our product in market, and then people buy it. I mean, Asian people. And then we sell our product in the bus station where people will go to Port-au-Prince, the capital of Haiti. They buy our product to go there. So what we are looking for, because in Haiti, we have so many NGOs, they come in Haiti to help people. But we are looking for if we can find organization who can buy our product, which is a local product, and then give to people, feed to people. Because we have organization that buys, that gives food to people, but they import food in Haiti to give to people. But we need organization that can use a local product to feed people. It's that we are looking for.
Yeah, I think that is important. Ms. McClarkin, how do you, as a foundation, because you're in that philanthropic space, how do you connect with other organizations that may be working on the ground? I don't know if you do, but is there a possibility of using your influence in that direction?
We try when we can. What I try to use my influence on greatly is to get organizations importing food, to stop importing food, but to buy local Haitian food. Because if I look at Pierre Moise's business, he has capacity to do 20 times as much as he's doing now. He doesn't have the customers. So if I can, and I've been working really hard to get him more customers. So this is not money being given by our foundation. This is influence where we kind of lean on people. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm working very hard with World Central Kitchen because they're bringing in a lot of food and they're doing great work to feed a lot of people. But imagine if that money was used to buy local food, how that could jumpstart the economy. Everybody would have more jobs. Pierre Moise would have 10 times more people working in his factory. All of it would trickle down. Then you wouldn't have problems with not being able to afford healthcare because now they have jobs. They can afford healthcare. They can afford to take care of their children. It's lifting people up. Yeah. Money comes in, but how much does it lift you up? If it feeds you for a day, you're still hungry tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But if you buy Pierre Moise's product, then those people have money to pay the shoemaker to buy shoes, to pay for school fees, to pay for school uniforms. And the money circulates instead of just being flown in an airplane, feeding people, and everybody packs up and leaves because there's another crisis in a different part of the world. Yeah, we have to help economies to grow. If not, it's the same old story. Let's work on the development of these countries. Let's make it, at one point, they were very healthy. Well, my vision is the fruit trees, the breadfruit, the mangoes, the dillies. I'm hoping we can use that to fill some of that void and make these countries wealth again from their economic power. They have sunshine 12 months of the year, good soil, hardworking people who work for less. So let's harness that energy. And it's hard. It's like pushing a train up a hill. But when you get it to the top of that hill, it's going to be a mighty force coming down.
Yes, I think that's a very, very, very brilliant way of stating it. If you think about it graphically, you understand, creating the momentum, going up the rough side of the mountain, but on the other side, it's going to be that much better. And why are we having this conversation? Why are we talking about this? Certainly anyone out there who pays attention, the Bahamas has a lot to gain from this. The Bahamas has suffered significantly over the years because of illegal from Haiti, because persons are just looking for a better way out. They're looking for a better life. They are moving away from challenges. Here is a project, and let's not just limit our minds to this particular project, but here is a way of thinking where rather than you think about philanthropy as given, it's about empowering, it's about helping individuals to become entrepreneurs. So there is within the philanthropic space something which the other persons have figured out long time ago, because guess what? The people who give are actually sometimes the persons who are selling these products, and the monies are going back to interesting places. So the Bahamas has a vested interest in a properly functioning and a robust environment and a robust economy in Haiti. And certainly there are some lessons which the Bahamas can take from Haiti in terms of its agricultural effort to do the thing to better diversify our economy and to make sure that the type of challenges that we would have seen because of the pandemic and the concentration of revenue coming in from the tourism industry, that we can smooth that out a bit. We can make it easier. We can add new industries, new sources of revenue, and eventually, well, maybe not revenue in the first instance, but savings. But eventually, we will get to the place where we can start to export and create more robustness and more resilience in the Bahamian environment. We're going to take ourselves another break here, and when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation. Maybe you have some questions. Maybe you have a connection that you want to make. The numbers are 323-6232, 325-4316, and 325-4259. You're listening to The Essentials. My guests, Pierre Moyes, Paula Prosper, and Mrs. Mary McLaughlin from Trees That Feed Foundation. Come right back.
I don't know if it's the way the sauce is prepared, but I could literally eat Ballo's jerk all day. I mean, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's very addictive, and I encourage everyone to try it at least once, and I promise you, it won't be the last.
The best authentic yard jerk chicken spot on the island. And that's the thing. Big up yourself, Ballo's.
Ballo's jerk is the best in town. Their meat and their sauce is on point. You gotta try it.
Loss of family members is very isolating, and people who have experienced loss appreciate when others have shared their grief. If you can't be there in person, go to the Nassau Guardian's website online at thenassauguardian.com and visit our obituary link. The Nassau Guardian's interactive obituary link allows you to read the funeral announcement, express condolences, or place photos on the online guest book for 1 full year. Losing a loved one is painful, but that pain isn't the worst thing to happen. Friends, loved ones, colleagues, and neighbors who ignore the loss compound the pain. Should the bereaved family wish to place the obituary and photos on our obituary site, just contact the Guardian's funeral industry partners or the Nassau Guardian. Remember, there isn't one magic right thing to say to someone experiencing loss that will make the loss less painful or easier to bear. The Nassau Guardian's obituary link, available online at thenassauguardian.com.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Essentials, the Reset Session. We're talking with Mrs. Mary McLaughlin of the Trees That Feed Foundation, the use of breadfruit tree in the main in this instance, but also using others. And it's a means of uplifting community, uplifting individuals, getting into entrepreneurial endeavor. It's social entrepreneurship. And I think, bringing this to the light of day in the Bahamas is important. She's been working with a number of individuals here on the ground. And, it's been, I'm not saying that they're keeping it quiet, but it has not been totally out there. So, my job is to kind of let everything out of the bag and to let persons understand and know that there are these opportunities. So if you're living over there in Andros and you were gifted 10,000 acres or 10 acres or 22 acres by your great-great-grandfather, and you've been sitting around thinking, what am I going to do with this? Well, here's an opportunity. The first thing you should do is call me and ask me, how do I want to partner with you? And now, on a serious basis, look at exactly what opportunities are there, because this could be a big change maker. We're also having a conversation, in part of the conversation is Mr. Pierre Moyes. And Mr. Pierre Moyes is an Asian living in Haiti. He's a social entrepreneur, but a real entrepreneur, a social entrepreneur on one level, but also a real entrepreneur running a business. And he is using and extracting from the breadfruit, turning that into flour, and using that in his bakery, and he's selling that locally. He's making money, but he's also helping to feed persons, and he's contributing actively to the economy. And finally, my friend, my brother, my coach, my mentor, we wear a lot of hats back and forth between each other, Paula Prosper. And he's here primarily because he is in that philanthropic space and he's looking for opportunities, always working to help his Asian brothers and sisters. So I want to start with you, Polo. As we go through this conversation, as you speak with Moyes, as you listen to Ms. McLaughlin, and you cast your eyes on the future, what are some of the possibilities that you see out there? You're also in the teaching space. You're a John Maxwell trained teacher and trainer and coach and speaker. What are there, not only feeding the people, not only building house, but also impacting on the growth and the development of the human asset, the human resource of Haiti. Talk to us about that.
Yes, I very much appreciate everyone thoughts they have shared on the panel, because I feel like we all share the same vision, the same idea, and the same goal, which is what I've always shared with you, Edward, just the fact that I believe Haiti does not need a handout. The Haitian people need a real opportunity, a level playing field opportunity to show what they can do themselves. Not to confuse my thoughts or idea what I'm trying to say. The fact that touch base back on what Miss Marie and Maurice also said, the idea is this: if you could teach people, if you help people to get started, get them to get a head start off the ground, and you teach them what they can do to continue to provide for themselves. I'm not even saying that to provide jobs for them, because I grew up, as a kid. I was born in the village in Haiti. I'm very familiar with the breadfruit product, which is one of my favorite. I told Maurice yesterday after I spoke to him. I went to a local store, bought me just one, for like almost $6 in the States, and it's not even that good. So I know it's like that conversation brings back memories of my childhood. So my idea, what I loved about what Mr. Moyes is doing, is the fact that I'm not so much focused on what he's doing in terms of feeding the people, doing all that stuff, running his business. I appreciate he's doing that. Good to him, and I'm not trying to knock that out. But when he mentioned to me about the vision, okay, let's go ahead and teach the people what I'm doing and educate the people. That's one aspect. Not only that, make it easier for the individuals who would normally when he stated earlier, when you have so much of those breadfruit and they become spoiled because you can't eat them as fast as you produces them. Mm-hmm. But when he provides a way for the farmers to sell it to him, and then he could take that and turn it into flour, I think it's a brilliant idea. So you not only himself go into business, but he also become a source of income for those farmers as well. And the farmers will go back into the country, use that money to send their kids to school, to send to have their children advance in life or have a better opportunity that they didn't have. So my focus, reason why I say that I all share my vision is the fact that we all have the same idea to not only the aspect how they can feed themselves, but also teach them how they can continuously reproduce what they're doing. So therefore, they don't have to live in certain condition that they have accepted for so many years.
Yeah, and I think that is important because it's not simply about, just giving some people some food or some clothes or some physical things. What I'm hearing from you, Polo, is there is an aspect where we focus on the human dignity, where we focus on ensuring that we build up the self-image, we re-engage them to understanding the possibilities so they can dream and they can hope again that, there are greater things. A lot of these persons have spent so long being in challenging circumstances that they no longer believe. And I think when you can marry the physical with the internal rework, I think some fundamental and important things can emerge out of that. And that's why, again, when you think about a project, don't only look at it on a superficial level. Turn it over, spin it around, slice it open, dice it up, and look for the possibilities, because embedded in this whole idea of trees that feed is some fundamental ways of shifting and investing in the human dignity of individuals, and in that particular country. But in another country like the Bahamas, it's a way of foisting or creating opportunities for entrepreneurship. It's an opportunity to broaden the spectrum of earning for a country, for generating foreign income, or for creating import substitution. Whichever way you want to slice it, it benefits at the end of the day. Ms. McLaughlin, your look at the future, your look at the possibilities. What are the things going through your mind at this time? What are some of the things which your foundation is looking at as it sees and seek to serve the Caribbean?
Well, I've just been listening to your words, and everything you said is exactly what I believe in. You said it so perfectly. I see these wonderful opportunities that maybe we just don't see, or maybe we don't have the money to kind of act on them. But the Caribbean has a potential to be the breadbasket for the world. Good soil, good hardworking people. And sometimes we just have to figure how you're going to make a business out of a good idea. Mm-hmm. And that is the challenge. We work at a small level. We take one person and we stick with that one person till that person is successful and on their feet. And I think like Pierre Moise, he's almost on his feet. We not only work with him in Haiti, we have 5 centers of breadfruit excellence across Haiti. They're spread out, so it's not competition, because we want each one to grow and be totally successful and lift everybody up. The rising tide lifts everything up. And that's our philosophy. And I think it's there. We put this collective will together and we work hard and we insist on buying locally. I go into supermarkets in Port-au-Prince. Everything in there is imported. There's just a very few things that are grown or made in Haiti. And collectively, we need to stop that thinking and buy locally, because by buying locally, we're supporting our local farmers.
Yes.
And I think it can be done.
I believe so too, and I believe in your message is a message for the Bahamas. Many times, and I sit at some places where I don't make up too much noise about this because there's sensitivities involved. But at some point in time, you have to admit the fact that it's a little bit ridiculous to say buy local when all of the stuff which is so local is imported. The idea, the concept, the fundamental philosophy behind buying local is really buying locally produced stuff. So if we're going to get to that place, then we need to start rethinking. We need to start asking ourselves the question right here in the Bahamas, we can do more of and produce more of locally, because at the end of the day, this is the way I see it. If you can domicile more of the profit, more of the wealth which is coming out of the country, i.e. they're owned by individuals in Andros, in Meguana, young people, poor people, not so poor people, middle class, top class, whatever class you want to call it. If we can get more of that going, then certainly the country is going to be richer for it. The economy is going to be more robust. And we have to really start to shift our thinking and start to understand that, look, we are not simply the buyers. We have to get to the place where we are the producers and we are the sellers, as Ms. McLaughlin says. We can become the breadbasket in certain ways, or at least with certain products of the world. We know that the big countries, they have scales, and that gets you all the time. You have subsidies, and that gets you all the time. But there is an affinity, a great affinity for products coming out of the region, and we need to be able to leverage that. Pierre Moyes, talk to us about, where you want to see yourself in the next 5-10 years. How do you want to see persons interacting with you? And, especially, wouldn't you like to see some interest coming out of the Bahamas to support your efforts there in Haiti? I don't know the different places, so I'll just use Haiti as a general location.
Okay, good. There's something I want to say. It's like when you give, for example, when Trees That Feed pays for a farmer, the farmer say that has two importances for him. One is feeding. I mean, he will find food to eat in 5 years or 4 years. And then also the other is to protect the environment. Because in Haiti, we have a problem. The problem is like cutting trees to make charcoal. But when a person has a breadfruit tree, he will protect it because he knows that he will find breadfruit from the tree to sell or to feed himself, and also that will protect the environment. But other kind of make charcoal to sell. Mm-hmm. My vision, in the future, it's to see that we have so many farmers who have breadfruit trees, and also we will decrease, the quantity of trees cutting in the country to make charcoal, where people will use other alternatives. People can use other alternatives, to cook, but they don't have money. For example, a person who has breadfruit trees, he can sell the breadfruit and then to get an income, to buy gas, to buy an oven, and then to cook. That's the solution. Other thing I would like to see is like so many people in Haiti already, I can say that like or love comparettes and bread using breadfruit flour. It's like to see in the future I'm able to market breads and comparettes in all the Haiti, in all the Caribbean, like sending comparettes and breads using breadfruit flour in Bahamas, to sell, where supermarket in Bahamas can buy our comparettes and then sell them. That is something I think that will be good for the Caribbean relationship I think we need to establish during the Caribbean countries. And also, I want to see in the future for organization, large organization, to determine, to understand their goals. I mean, it's like to community to help. Okay, you're gonna help. It's like to take on the long-term result. It's like on the short term. For example, like what Trees That Feed is doing in Haiti. That is a long-term result. For example, giving people trees, people will get the trees for a long term, and then people will have food from the trees, and also people will be able to sell the fruit, provided by the trees, and also people will get an income. And like buying breadfruit flour, like buying comparates, like buying breads, it's the same. For example, now I have 11 people working with me in my business. That is something very important for the community, because it allows me to create job, and also for the farmers, they get income because I buy local product, and also the women, when I do training for them, after the training, they start their own business. I mean, they buy my breadfruit flour and go in their community to sell my breadfruit flour, and also to make other kind of things like patty, maybe Polo understand patty, using breadfruit flour, and also to make porridge in their community, sell to people where people buy porridge from them. I think it's this kind of things we need in the community, where people can work together. Because I have a large group. I have more than 75 farmers I'm working with, where I do training for them almost every 3 months. Sometimes Trees That Feed finance the training for me. I mean, provide food for the farmers doing the training, and also cooking school for women where we work with them. I think we need this kind of thing because we use local product to do almost everything. It's that we need. And then it's this kind of help also we need to encourage local production.
Yeah, I think the points you make are so fundamental. And in a nutshell, you are saying that the solutions that Haiti needs, like any other country, they're solutions which are sustainable for the long term. They're solutions which are not just focused on today. Yes, there may be a crisis. Yes, the persons need to be fed. But what about tomorrow? What about 5 years from now? What about education? What about income? Even the lives and the state of affairs of these individuals, what is it that we do as a community? And by community, I mean the Caribbean community. What is it that we do as part of the human brotherhood to make sure that we contribute? We, as they say here in the Bahamas, what type of a blow can we throw, to make this better? And also to look at the opportunities that agriculture, Trees That Feed, processes that can generate income, that can create wealth, that can jumpstart maybe dynasties, if you will. You never know. How can we use that? As usual, when we have these type of a conversation, we run out of time very, very quickly. So we have 5 minutes to go. So I'll give you each a couple of minutes, starting with you, Polo. Your quick closing thoughts.
Yes, I appreciate everyone that's on the panel, especially to bring awareness, and I also appreciate my brother Maurice for what he's doing. And one thing he didn't mention about himself that I've learned yesterday, he's in school right now learning, not learning, but to get his master on agriculture. So the man is fully aware of what he's talking about and well educated in some of that. So my heart, my thoughts, and my desire, my hope, my dream for anyone this in terms of Haiti, and when they think of Haiti, I want them to be able to think of Haiti not as they see on TV, but think of Haiti as a country like any other country who goes through ups and downs. And I often say this, Haiti will always, probably not always, but most likely will have natural disaster based on where the country is positioned. So I'm saying this to say this. I don't want anyone to feel sorry because Haiti is going through what they're going through in terms of natural disaster. But how can you actually help? Send good thoughts, good energy, positive words. And it's not what you've heard or what someone else has said, but what you actually study and learn. Get to understand who and what the Haitian people are and what they represent. We need the positive energy. Yes. Everything else will take care of itself if we focus on sending love and positive energy and give an extending hand if you can, not in finances alone, but simply by trying to understand the Haitian culture and reach out and learn and trying to understand how can you purchase from a guy like Moise? Okay. How can you get involved in something that he's doing? How can you take his product or bring him a little bit more exposure to your community and to the rest of the world? Yeah. That would be my closing thoughts, and appreciate you guys, and thank you for having me tonight.
Yeah, man, always a pleasure interacting with you, Polo. Ms. McLaughlin, quickly.
Well, I don't like to give a handout. I like to give a hand up, and I am encouraging anybody that's in philanthropy to think about that. Ask people what they need and help them to achieve their goal. There is nothing like being an entrepreneur. And sometimes that entrepreneur just needs that hand up. So I would encourage everybody to try to do that. And thank you so much for having me on this show. This is exciting, and I very, very much appreciate it.
I thank you so much for being here. Pope Moise, you have 10 seconds. You did take some time, so, just 10 seconds. Give us your quick final word.
Yes, well, I want to say I'm open to work with any organization or any people who want to work with me to do what I'm doing. To help my project in Haiti. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah, it was certainly a pleasure. It's a really good to interact and to get to know individuals who have a heart for the people. And so as we close, we always close by saying, do not ever allow your greatness to become a victim of your unwillingness to change. You've been listening to the essentials, the reset we discussed tonight. Trees that feed. We want you to give that some thought. We want you to reflect on that. And always, always be ready to help, to give a hand up, not just a handout. Good night.
For the best jerk in the Bahamas, you must have balus, pork, fish, and chicken served with our delicious country-style sauce and authentic festivals. Balus, Nassau East South, call or WhatsApp 376-8951. Balus, the jerk with the soul of reggae and the spirit of Junkanoo. Balus jerk, traditional, slow-cooked to perfection. 376-8951. Get yours today.
Our free pick, pack, delivery service gives everyone in the Family Islands a chance to shop a variety of club products and prices right from home. Simply call or WhatsApp your order to 242-677-7266 or email order@amlfoods.com. A friendly customer service representative is waiting to pick, pack, and deliver your order to the mailboat of your choice. The options are truly endless, and with membership you save even more. So order today and let Cost Right pick, pack, and deliver right to you.